Hey everybody, it's Thomas. Let's talk about some Blood Bowl League of Blood Bowl. Um, it was a week. Some things happened to everybody. My team actually had a pretty good week. Nobody got injured beyond badly hurt. None of my new people died. It's a shock. I expected yada 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 hit level 4. Maybe if I had hired Tyria, I would have hit that problem, but luckily it did not. Let's see, other changes. Betty hit somebody again, so that's exciting. Beyond that, oh yes, Wigs, and Socks hit level 4. My first level 4 piece. I just got a couple people pretty up there as well now. Valley of the Doilies, 1 touchdown away. Honestly, that's the only other person that's close. I guess Stickers for Men is an MVP away. And I mean, Betty's kind of close. She hits 5 people, or hits 3 people hard enough and gets MVP. It's possible. Or gets a touchdown or something stupid. That's not likely to happen, though. Anyway, so not too bad, honestly. I gave Wigs, and Socks Mighty Blow. I thought about like Stand Firm or Tackle. Those are all pretty good skills. But with Frenzy and Block, kind of get around that with Mighty Blow. So it works out. And honestly, not enough dodge around to make things work. I've kind of been regretting giving Wolf and Sheep Clothing dodge. It's been handy when it's been handy, but I think the way the group stage worked out, it ended up being a kind of suboptimal choice, but I think I got this a long time ago, so whatever. I got a Fan Factor as well. If you haven't watched the game, it'll be up here starting now. And yeah, tie game with Jessup. Pretty solid game, actually. Scored early. I got some early removal. And then second half, started out really strong, removed the Rat Ogre right away, and was able to stall long enough to score on turn 16, and then Jessup has a very magical one-turn touchdown. It's not that magical with a leap gutter runner, I guess, but he still got it. 30k for me, which, sort of whatever. Managed to not get a whole bunch of injuries this week, so that's good. Yeah, did 3 casualties, 2 touchdowns, MVP. I said at the end of the video, was probably one of the better games I've had in a while, which considering my last few games is not saying a lot. But still, it was a pretty good week. 6, 12, 17 SPP. Pretty good about that. Just 1 casualty, 1 MVP, obviously, and 2 touchdowns. Puts him at 13, which is fine. It's not great, but it's okay. We'll talk about his team in a little bit here. But yeah, pretty happy with how the teams turned out. Got a fair amount of SPP spread. Did a pretty good job of getting everybody up there. So overall, pretty happy with that. One thing that went right for my team. Luna Jessup squad only missed next game this kick piece, which is not great because I'm sure he'd like to have it next week, but it does give it to him for sure in the first round of the playoffs, so that's pretty good. Jessup actually has probably better, well, he's got pretty good SVP. Everybody, a lot more level 4s than I have. So his level 4, he's got a couple level ups too. Let's quick check his money. I think he also got 30k though. Yeah, he also got 30k. Level ups happened on Hogwash Redux, who got +1 agility, which is huge. Jessup cannot stop rolling stats and doubles, apparently. Just ridiculous how much this team gets. Blodge Leap agility is really good. This is an insane gutter runner. Who else got the level up? Somebody else did. Oh, was it? It was Blarney. Blarney got the level up here with I want to say MVP, but it could just be putting on more casualties. Either way, Blarney is level 4 and gets Dauntless. He talked to me a little bit, thus. I think, I don't know. The classic skill to get would be Tackle, and I kind of like it looking at who might make it into the playoffs, but it's one of those choices. It's kind of the same thing I had with my Elf Blitzers last season, is there's a lot of pretty good choices to get, but you kind of want to get Dauntless to help hit bigger things. This piece already has guard. I mean, like for Malarkey's probably going to get piling on if it gets another level up, which he's not that close to that happening. He's not that far either, but like Abed hasn't hit it yet, and I'm just not expecting it. I think it's, I want to say it's 51. Is that right? Is it 51? Here, let's take a quick look here. Anytime. Come on, Blood Bowl. Yeah, it's 51. So, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's not that likely either. But yeah, I mean, Dauntless kind of helps mitigate the lack of guard this team has. It's got some guard, sure, but one of those guard pieces is easy to push around, and the other one is him. So, I mean, I think it's fine. I think Stand Firm would be okay too, but considering this piece is Mighty Blow, I think Dauntless is okay. Yeah, with plus agility, his team gets really close. Actually, he will be, once this line is back, hitting spiraling expenses, so we'll see what happens there. 60k in the bank. He could foreseeably buy another lineman. He probably will want one eventually, but I think his team value is okay, and this team is generally sufficient enough. He was able to field a lot of players against me, just they kept getting removed early on, so it was like he didn't have that many players on his team, so I think it's fine, as is. Let's take a look at some of their matches of the week here. This matchup doesn't matter too much. Let's take a look at Andrew's team, though, just to see if anything happened. No level ups for Andrew. He got 50k, as we saw last week. Actually, we looked at this team already last week. And then if we look at the Greater versus Zach match, this actually ended up being a tie I was a little surprised about, but that's how it is. I haven't had a chance to watch this game yet. Well, as soon as I can, I'll link it up there. Beetlejuice gets a level up, I'm guessing, on the back of... Nope, didn't get it, actually. Looks like maybe an MVP, but looks like a casualty or so. Anyway. Beetlejuice gets a level up. Things he might want. I kind of like Tackle. His other zombies have gotten some pretty good things. Dauntless actually isn't that bad either. If he rolls doubles, obviously he gets Guard. He's not really using Dirty Player, otherwise I'd say that. Tackle does seem pretty good. Fend, I wouldn't mind a Fend here. Keep people in place. He does block, that wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, Fend actually looks pretty good here. Fender Tackle would be fine. Dauntless. I mean, there's lots of perfectly fine choices for this zombie to get. No other changes, it looks like, on this team. 30k for him. Looks like a matchup of nobody hitting anybody. One casualty, a pass, which is pretty great. MVP, so 8 SPP total. Great gets just 5. I think Smiley was removed relatively early was part of the problem, which the piece adds a lot for this team, or for Chaos. We'll take a look at that in just a second here. Let's just do one more couple things on Zach's team before we get too far away. 6 fan factor. We get 1710 in team value. This team continues to do pretty well. I'm sad Pierce 2 or Pierce 3 didn't post anything up, but whatever. So let's take a look at Great X team. So Smiley mixed next game, actually, which mixed blessing, much like Jessup's kick piece. This means that this piece was guaranteed to be in the first round of the playoffs no matter what, which mixed blessing for who she plays next week and who she gets the first round of the playoffs. No other changes on this team, once again, in the week of that. Still at 10 fan factors, that's pretty good. I mean, this team is doing fine. I think, well, Lion would love to be level 4 right now, I'm sure. That's what all of these pieces. Amazing things happen when you start concentrating and giving them SPP. So we'll see. These 2 Blodge Chaos Warriors are kind of why I think people need a little more tackle than they have, because not a lot of people have a lot of wrestle. I mean, Jessup has had wrestle pieces, they just keep dying. But the lack of wrestle means that need better ways to deal with Blodge, and wrestle is really good, kind of universally. But if you block already, tackle is kind of the next best thing. I don't know. There's lots of ways to deal with Blodge pieces, to be sure, but not good ones, and 4 strength Blodge is especially problematic. I think this team is still fine. 5 strength Chaos Warrior is more than enough, and, you know, excuse me, this team is fine. It's got a lot of power. It just needs some more scoring where it is. You can kind of see the deaths taking a toll here. The Beastmen need to be doing a little more than they are, but they're still okay. Greg in a similar SPP spread as me. Okay, let's take a look at the other match of the week, which was another tie between Orville and Mark. Hard game for Mark in a lot of ways. It was pretty balanced, I think, but Mark had some bad times as his guys just keep getting beat up by the elves. Just knocked down, stunned, all that stuff. Mark wasn't really able to return the favor too much, although did a little bit. I guess one thing that I'd say is, like, Mark had to really work for his touchdown to get at the end. Orville kind of did some elf stuff. I think if Mark had a less disastrous play on like turn 12, it would have been a much different story. Or if Orville hadn't stunned people when he stunned people, different story. But is what it is. Elf bullshit was magical. Mark barely stopped the 2-1, so kept himself at a tie, which is not too bad. Not a great week for Mark, though. 10 SPP total. Orville walking away with a little bit more, actually. 9, 10, 13. So better week for Orville. Not great, honestly, for an elf team, but not bad either. Mislex game on the Dean with a minus armor value. Pretty significant. This piece now breaks armor 53% of the time when it gets hit. Luckily with BBLoBB, it doesn't get hit very often, but when it does, it will definitely go down. So some little bit moving into next week, but we'll see. I don't know. Abed is a level 5. I'm just going crazy here. I don't know. This team needs more. Troy needs to be level 4. Britta almost level 2. Honestly, if we can get a touchback and give it to Britta, it wouldn't hurt, but I think there might be better touchback targets at that point, like Annie. Maybe, I don't know, Mark's got a lot of people that are really far away from a level up. Actually, the 4th Pierce is the one who should get the ball. I'm just skipping over that slot because I'm so used to being blank or sad. 190 for Mark, 1550. I don't know. When the Dean comes back, he's at 1700. I kind of feel like he needs more linemen. That's honestly what I'd probably do. I would hire like one more, maybe hold off a week. We can look at that in a second, though. Jumping over to Orville's team. 60K for Orville, so another high rolling week for Orville. Really good. Amazing things happen when you win and tie. Although, I don't know. The other best one was when he lost, so it's whatever. Orville's rolled so poorly in his winnings roll. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Here we are. Team itself, 2 levels up. 1 on the Witch Elf and 1 on this lineman. Level 4 lineman. Sidestep is sort of the thing that comes to mind. He still has a kick on the runner, which I still don't like, but whatever. Witch Elf should get block or wrestle. I wouldn't hate wrestle on the jump up piece. I think he's got he's only got one. He's only got one wrestle piece now. So wrestle might be okay. Block otherwise. Block or wrestle. It's kind of a straightforward choice. Both are pretty good. In terms of this lineman, though, I don't know. I really think sidestep is kind of what I think to jump up could be okay too, but I don't think it's that necessary. Tackle would be okay. Could get leap if he's feeling saucy. I don't know. It's like level 4 is kind of weird. Probably will get Dauntless knowing Orville, which I wouldn't hate too much actually. If he gets doubles, obviously gets guard, but whatever. Otherwise, 200k in the bank. He should have bought his Witch Elf last week, so you should buy it this week. Basically, now you can buy a couple things. Actually, you can buy his Witch Elf and an Assassin, which would increase this team's ability to remove some annoying BBLoBB pieces in the future, especially like gutter runners. Norse players, things like that. So an assassin would be okay. You can use it as a downfield receiver, so you have a stab threat if they mark you, or you just have an open for agility player. They can run away with the ball. So I kind of like that, actually. You can afford both now, because he actually rolled real money a couple weeks. So yeah, the Witch Elf he should have had last week is 110, and then the Assassin is 70. Could get another, or no, the Assassins are 90. He can still do that. I'm just underestimating it. So yeah, Assassins are 90. I mean, why not? I guess he could get the runner too, but I don't think he's going to be using it. And the Assassin, a little bit slower, but offers a little more like pocket utility stuff. So that's what I would like to see. He can leave some of the... actually doesn't have that. He only has the one level 1 lineman, so whatever, I guess. But let's leave that one on the side. I don't know. That's what I would do anyway. But who knows, his linemen are pretty developed at this point where it may be too late to add those things to the mix. I do like the Assassin, though, as a pocket player that you can pull out in certain matches. Something to consider, anyway. All right, well, that's our split of the week. This is the second week we have not had a death, which is pretty impressive, considering this is week 19. We've only had one other week without a death. Part of this is, one of the matchups probably because one of the matchups didn't happen, but who knows. Looking at the next week, the reason this one isn't a forced tie is Chris and I are talking about, because both of us are out and Chris has a little bit more time this week, just playing this game for blood. So we'll see what happens here. It doesn't matter who wins, so I'm going to say I win because Chris's vampires are poorly behaved, although, yeah, historically I think I've beaten him. Yeah, I've beaten him usually, so let's say I'll win. Whatever. It doesn't matter too much. I guess I could check inducements. Snaring at Chris's team for the first time in a while. Got 2 level ups, assuming their normal will be at 1620. And I'm right around there, I think. 1660. So nobody gets anything. Hooray. So yeah, I'm going to say I'm going to win this one. Why not? Whatever. Other match in Group 2 is actually pretty important. This is between Andrew and Jessup. And both these guys are going to the playoffs. So this matchup has a pretty big outcome potentially for injuries. Mostly injuries Andrew will dish out, I'm guessing. 1720 for Andrew if he rehires the Hobgoblin, which, debatable if he wants to do that, but probably will. 1760 if he does that. Jessup looking right around there from what I remember. 1720 as well. So Andrew rehiring that piece doesn't really impact anything, so you might as well, is my attitude. I don't know. Let's look at the last time these teams have met. Jessup beat him that time, beat him that time, and it was a tie this one. So this really favors Jessup. I mean, historically some of those were based off of hard-hitting Rat Ogres and super good runners, but to be honest, he kind of has those again with a block Rat Ogre, this 5 agility leap gutter runner. Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of fouling is going to be that productive, but who knows, you can throw it out with Sneaky Git. I think Jessup's fast enough where it'll be fine, and now that he knows how to one-turn touchdown, I think it'll definitely be a matchup that favors him. We'll see. The big problem he's going to have is Andrew. Andrew's team still hits really hard. This Claw Mighty Blow piece isn't that impactful. Where'd it go? There we go. Just because 7 armor value, but still. The amount of Mighty Blow in this team is kind of scary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces with Mighty Blow is not to be underestimated. This team is a lot stronger than Jessup too, so we'll see. I mean, just because it has the Claw Mighty Blow piece, but if that gets removed early like it did against me, it won't matter that much. We'll see. The early engagements and first possession is going to be kind of a big deal. I'm going to give Jessup a bit of an edge just because Andrew's team is slow and Jessup's team is extremely fast. So that's kind of what I lean to. If Andrew can put up hits like he's been doing the past few weeks, though, it might not matter. But if we look at the most recent matchup here, I mean, Andrew put on a fair amount of hurt, but was not able to stop the touchdowns, which is sort of what the Skaven team counts on. So we'll see. I think Jessup ate a lot of problems going into that game, after that game, though. So we'll see. Should be close one way or the other. Yeah, I still feel like Jessup can win this game. And if he does and can minimize injuries, that puts him in a very good spot going into the playoffs. Also, we'll look more at rankings, I guess, after the preview. But if he wins, he'll have first seed. If he loses, he'll stay where he is. Or if he ties, Andrew will get first seed. So Jessup needs to win to secure first seed, which may or may not be something he wants, depending on what happens on the other side, but we'll see. Chaos versus Dark Elf here. With Smiley missing again, this thing changes quite a bit. Last time they tied, but I don't know. Since then, she's gotten a fair amount of skills in some nice places, and she also is going to have all 4 Chaos Warriors this time around. So we'll see. Elf bullshit is definitely a thing. 1650 versus 1610. So I'm not giving up anything unless Orville buys what he help. I think he should, which at least is the Witch Elf. At which point Gradic will get 100k, possibly more depending on if Orville spends all 200k to get 2 pieces. I mean, he could just go with the Witch Elf for now. The Assassin won't be that useful against Gradic anyway, so I could see just doing that. Actually, it would be probably the best purchase decision. Does give Gradic, some induced money, but you're getting a Witch Elf for the trade. I think that's well worth it. And if things go well, you can get that Witch Elf to level 2 by the end of the game, and everything will be great. So, I don't know. I still give Gradic a little bit of an edge here, even missing her Super Minotaur. Orville is a team where theoretically you don't need that big of a piece. Kind of depends on how much the Dauntless kicks into gear against all of these high strength pieces. Depends on how much clearing Grey Duck can do. Grey Duck has kind of this problem I have, or really had, I guess, of not having a lot of Mighty Blow, which means that she'll get a lot of blocks, but it's not going to be very protected. Just that one piece now without Smiley sitting out. So the lack of Mighty Blow on this team is sort of a problem, basically, in terms of dealing with the faster, more finesse teams. If the season was longer, obviously you should probably get it, but it could be said for a lot of teams. So, I don't know. It should be close. I think Grey Duck has the advantage, though, as long as things go better. I think last time they played, one of the bigger problems was just, not a lot of removal on her side. So, we'll see. Elf bullshit is definitely always a thing, so we'll see how that goes. But I think Grey Duck could probably win this one. If we take a look at this next matchup, is Zach versus Mark here. Zach is out of the playoffs, but this matchup does determine some things. But we'll look at the match before we get too much into rankings talk again. So 1550 with Mark. And semi-normal 1710 for Zach. So that is wizard money, right? 1710 versus 1550. He's got enough players, so yeah, 160. So that's wizard money. I think he could probably hire another mercenary runner, but why would you do that? I guess is the question. Last couple times they've fought, Mark won, tied, win, and tie. Yeah, win, tie, win. So Mark has a little bit of an edge here, although this early win, I don't put a ton of stock in because Zach was still really learning the game. Missing the Dean is definitely going to be a factor. As always with Mark's team, it really depends on how well behaved his pieces are and how good Britta is at killing things and how good Abed is at crushing them all. Wizard money definitely helps Mark a lot. I honestly don't feel like Zach has gotten more than like one touchdown almost ever. Just quick jumping through here. That one he got 2 against, but that's against Chris. 2 against Andrew. Okay. So he's gotten a couple games, but it's pretty rare he scores more than one touchdown, which is understandable with the Undead team. They're very slow, relatively speaking. I don't know, there's a lot of bodies, basically, appropriately so, that you can just throw in the way. Sauron only being level 2 is still an issue. If Mark can get away from the mummies or just keep the ball away long enough, I think he can win, especially with the wizard stopping a potential breakaway drive. Pull a lot of stock. And historically, wizards for this matchup have been pretty impactful, so we'll see what happens. I give Mark the edge here just because of the wizard money and just because, all things said, I don't know how much damage this thing can do. No strip ball. The ghoul's just not developing very quickly is part of the issue here. This team is not developing that fast in general, basically, despite not really suffering that many permanent injuries at this stage. So yeah, I think Mark has a pretty good advantage going in there. We'll take a look at rankings here. So like I said, they're mostly settled. These two having a head-to-head matchup means first seed is still up for debate, but Joseph has to win outright. So we'll see. I think he will, so at that point, I'd give him first seed. This part, so Grey Duck is for sure in no matter what. Nobody can take first seed from her at this point. Mark would have needed to win last week for that to be true. Or Orville would have needed to win. Oh no, he still wouldn't be able to do it. So yeah, Mark would have needed to win last week in order to make that a potential threat. So Grey Duck will be first seed no matter what. So right now she's playing Jessup. So Jessup probably really wants to switch spots with Andrew. And honestly, I'd like to see a Chaos versus Chaos Dwarf matchup before the finals, please. Just to see how it goes. It would also really mess up my prediction for who would make it to the playoffs, but hey, these things happen. So yeah, second seed though is still for debate. It's possible for Orville and Mark to swap places here. That requires a couple of things happening though, which is why I don't think it's going to change very much. It requires Mark to lose to Zach, and it requires Orville to win over Grey Duck. At that point, Mark would still be at 7 points and Orville would be at 8. Any other combination does not work. If Orville wins and Mark ties, Mark still wins the first tiebreaker. If Orville ties or loses, it's a non-starter. So yeah, basically Orville has to win against the Chaos Squad, which possible, but slightly unlikely. And then Zach has to beat Mark. These are things I don't think are going to happen based on my predictions anyway. So yeah, I don't see that working out, basically. So all told, barring, I mean, all these matchups matter, which is kind of exciting. But barring except for the one versus me, Chris, which will just be a fun fest. But barring big upsets here, we're kind of looking at these slots essentially as is, which puts Norse versus Dark Chaos Dwarfs, which does not bode well for Mark, and then Jessup versus Skaven, Jessup versus Skaven, hopefully not. Jessup versus Chaos, which could go either way, honestly. That is a tough matchup to call. Potential upsets, though: light armor versus light armor, heavy armor versus heavy armor. Tough matchups potentially. I don't want to predict now who will make it in. I still think overall we're looking at a Chaos or Chaos Dwarf victor for the season overall. That's a pretty lazy prediction to make, since one way or the other they'll make it into the finals. I mean, it's possible for that to go the other way, I guess, but I feel pretty good predicting that. I don't know. That's tough. Maybe Greyduck has the potential to win it all, although she also has had problems I have where she'll make it almost to the finals and then not quite. So we'll see. Interesting times ahead for sure. Let's take a quick jump through the Hall of Fame here. Abed, most experienced player at 57. I don't see anybody catching him anytime soon. He's just been a machine. Best score remains the Dean. That might change if Hogwarts Redux gets some more touchdowns this week. And Dean being out, yeah, that's possible. Those two kind of the top contenders here. Best thrower, still Hui, throwing like a champ. No new interceptions, which is sad for me because I love interceptions. Abed, most violent player, not too surprising there. Smiley's got a lot of work to catch up to Abed, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. Best runner is the Dean by quite a fair ways. Ocelot Atlas has the potential to catch up, but there are other people that Chaos wants to get touchdowns on, so I don't see that happening anytime soon. Best thrower, Hui's throwing 2 lengths of the pitch all told, so that's pretty good. Survivor will mean nothing forever. Shirley with 3 kills. Still our best killer. No new ones up here. Best receiver, Dread 13th, Hogwarts Redux. Not surprised to see Skaven, and then Elves all over this. Vampires slightly, but whatever. We can ignore them. Quick recap of my predictions for the week. I think I will win. Eat it, Chris. I think that Jessup will win. I think that Cass will win, and I think that Mark will win. So, this side, and then cross there. So, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll talk to you later.